that was kind of my wake up moment where I can't let my clients down because I depend on this money to pay my mortgage. So I needed to get my systems in place.
Welcome back to Duo On Air. I'm Abby.
And I'm Courtney.
And we're the ex-agency turned entrepreneurial team that puts the Duo in Duo Collective. Our boutique organic marketing agency specializes in SEO, social media strategy, and branding.
We're an everyday pair of business besties / marketing experts obsessed with helping our community learn more about what it takes to run a business.
Which is why on Duo On Air, we're not holding anything back. We're giving you all the info we know about how to grow your business organically so you can be the confident CEO you were made to be.
And how to navigate life as a small business owner.
Whether it's on your own or with your best friend by your side, so grab your coffee
or your mimosa, we don't judge,
and settle in for a quick value-packed episode of Marketing Tips. Real quick, friend. Before we jump into this episode, we are hosting a completely free masterclass called How to Make SEO Easy on March 5th and 7th. If you are someone who feels overwhelmed by SEO and confused on where to even begin, then this masterclass is for you. In this training, we will share the 3 things search engines do, the biggest missing link we see to SEO success, and where the heck to even start. We give you 4 things to do that will take you less than 1 hour's time, not only giving you a starting point, but getting you beyond it. So don't miss out on this free training. Head over to duocollective.com/make SEO easy to snag your seat, or pop over to the show notes after this episode and save your seat there. We'll see you in there. Welcome back to the Duo On Air podcast. This is episode number 108, and today we are so excited to bring Becca, the co-founder and CEO of Dubsado, to the podcast. Dubsado is a client management system for service-based entrepreneurs, and it was our number 1 choice. Years ago, when we knew we needed more structure for our business, and most importantly for our clients, we needed a system that could do it all, that could send proposals, invoices, emails, and more, and also keep us organized. And the number 1 reason we were drawn to Dubsado was that it's beautiful. As branding experts, you know how much we talk about embodying your brand, and that is exactly what this tool does. From day 1, our clients see a beautifully customized proposal and contract that looks and feels just like our website. There really isn't another tool that does this. Nothing beats being able to give your clients an incredible experience. We were so excited to record this episode and honestly a little nervous to get a little peek behind the scenes of everything in Dubsado's world and to answer all of your questions that were prompted from a little Instagram share a few weeks ago. And better yet, if you already know you need this tool, because you definitely do, we have a code to save you 20% off your first year. All of this is going to be linked for you in the episode show notes. So without further ado, let's meet Becca. Hello, Becca. Thank you so much for joining us on the Duo On Air podcast.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
We are really excited to talk with you about Dubsado, a tool we use all the time, and I think our audience is going to love to hear more. I know we probably have some listeners who might already use the tool, or people who are just really interested in actually starting to dive more in to having a CRM or switching. So I'm really excited to talk with you about everything.
Yes.
And I think we can just kind of start at the beginning, because I'd love to know way back when, before this was even a thing, I'd love to kind of know how the idea started and how it evolved.
Yeah. So for those that don't know what Dubsado is a business management system for service-based business owners. So everything you need to run your business, from sending contracts, invoices, getting paid really quickly, those pesky reminders where you have to send out, hey, did you pay me yet? Can you pay me yet? Dubsado can handle that for you, all the way down to scheduling appointments, questionnaires, all that. So Dubsado becomes the central hub for your business. And it was built out of necessity. I needed it. I was a photographer many years ago. So Dubsado's turning 8 this year. So it's very
That's
exciting. Awesome. And it was about 9 years ago. I was running a photography business. I was doing a lot of headshot photography for children in the entertainment industry. And my husband was a web designer and was also managing a retreat center. So we had a bunch of different things going on, just enough to pay the mortgage, because that's how it is when when you're in your early marriage years. So things were kind of all over the place. We had our first child, things got even more hectic. It got to a point where I was my photo shoot walked in to the room, because I worked in like an office because I also worked as a talent agent, and my photo shoot walked in and was like, "Hi, I'm here for my shoot." And I said, "Great, let me be right back." I forgot that that shoot was coming. So I didn't have a calendar. I didn't have a contract. I didn't have any sort of system that helped me keep things going, that acted as like my personal assistant to keep things going through when life got busy, because life always gets busy. So that was kind of my wake up moment where I can't let my clients down. I can't also let my clients down because I depend on this money to pay my mortgage. So I needed to get my systems in place. So I looked there. This is a saturated market. There's a lot of companies out there that handle your business, that do business management, but nothing really was able to be customized to my business and really extended that client experience to look like it did on my website or to feel like my branding. It was just, I was copying, pasting things in, and I had to use their cookie cutter templates and such. So that's kind of how Dubsado was formed, with a foundation on being able to customize things to match your brand. So Dubsado does not show on any of your client communications at all if you don't want it to. So my husband set out and got to work and did it. And here we are all these years later, supporting 30,000 business owners from all over the world.
That's awesome. Did you think, I'd love to know just from curiosity, because me and my husband talk about this all the time. He's our podcast editor and he dabbles in
Yeah.
helping me with things, but he's not an official member of the team. Did you know, like right away, you guys could work together? Did it just naturally happen? Or was it like, oh, we always knew this was going to be a thing. We could do it.
Yeah, I think we always knew this was going to be a thing. We ventured into wedding photography together, didn't like it as much, and did like a few other things together. And we know our places where we excel, and it's complete opposite. So I believe that what makes us really good working together. We don't overlap at all. We just kind of go into our own zones and handle it. Like, you handle the code, sir. I'm not going to touch that.
Right.
I'll handle everything else. So it
That's
worked out.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's how Court and I are too. We're very different and we like
Yeah.
to do different things and we like to manage different things. And that's usually what we recommend from a partnership standpoint is like, you should make sure you have clearly defined roles that aren't butting
Yes.
heads because that could get a little crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
That's funny. That's awesome. So, you already gave us kind of a little pitch on what Dubsado is, and I did have a couple of questions from people who are wondering if Dubsado could be used for product-based businesses. And I know you guys specialize in
Mhm.
services, so I was just curious before we even dig into all the rest of the stuff. Do you have anyone that ever uses it for
Yeah.
product, or do you ever envision that being a thing?
Yeah, I see people using it for product-based businesses for custom orders. So if it's like a small boutique shop, let's say they sell t-shirts and they're more custom designed t-shirts, I see them sending a proposal Dubsado form with all of the bells and whistles that they can add to their shirt. Like, what text font do you want? What do you want it to say? Like, here's the graphics. And it's kind of acts as the custom shopping cart there in the Dubsado form. And since it doesn't have to look at inventory and how much is in stock and all of that, you can just make the order once you see that proposal come in. So I've
Oh,
seen,
yeah.
I treat that more as a service-based business, because it's someone is reaching out to you on a one-on-one basis and you are providing them a service, which also sends them a product.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. I see that even in like party planners, which could
Yes.
be project like kind of, product based or gift
Yes.
baskets or things like that. I could
Anything
totally see that.
customized, truly like a high touch type of product business, I can see it totally working for that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so what would you say, because you mentioned like this is a saturated market and I feel people talk all the time like what's the difference? What tool do I get?
Yeah.
What would you say? So between like there's 17 hats and Honeybook and a bunch Pixify is that? I think that's the one other one. There's
There's a
so
lot.
many. What would you say the biggest difference is between what Dubsado has to offer?
We focus a lot on the client experience. So, what your clients go through. A lot of other systems have really hard experiences for your clients to pay invoices. You're constantly logged out. The client has to log in every single time. Email communications have to be done through a certain portal. So we really focus on making it easy for your clients to pay an invoice, to schedule an appointment, and really keep that in mind first. Additionally, on the back end of Dubsado, there are so many more automation tools that you have over other client management systems in the market. So an automation, what we call in Dubsado are workflows, and they are certain automations that you can carry out automatically. So say someone fills out your contact form on your website, and as soon as they do that, you want to have them enter into your onboarding flow where it sends them a proposal, it sends them a contract, it sends them a few forms if you want to. You can basically have your entire client experience automated. So we really focused on creating a lot of actions that you can automate, from tasks to sending certain things. It really offers the most in terms of our competitors out there.
Yeah, that was the biggest for us. That was our biggest shift when we needed to go to Dubsado. I remember just like, I don't know how many years ago it was, but I was sending invoices through like a Word doc or an Excel doc and manually sending them, and then having to like manually update contracts and like having them saved in Google Drive. And like, it was just a very manual process. And then
Yes.
invoices, like you had mentioned, when it's manual, you're not always following up and you're not always
Yeah.
making sure things happen at a certain time. So that was something that for us, having all of those automated was so huge. But then
Mhm.
also, like from a client experience standpoint, giving our client access to the invoice at all times so they can look at it at all
Yep.
times and see how far along they are in the process, or say they want to pay early, or say they need me to make changes, I can make changes. Like there's so
Yep.
many things that make the experience so much better, which is like when we are strapped for time, so important just to make sure that our clients have everything at their fingertips. I'm not stuck in email, always resharing things. And yeah, that was a huge part of our shift and why we needed to get out of the day to day, like daily tasks, and have a tool do it for us.
Exactly. And it's fine when you have maybe one or two clients that you're working with, but as soon as you start getting more and more clients and scaling, there's only so much that you can remember. And like you said, it's so important for your clients to be able to have a consistent experience with you, but also be able to have all of their stuff like readily there when they need it at the time that they need it, instead of them reaching out to you. Hey, can you send my invoice? Or hey, do you have my contract? It's just happening for you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And the branded experience, that's another, I mean, obviously as like
Yes.
SEO and brand experts, we like the like numbers and the data, but we like it to look pretty. So it's like this
Yeah.
mix of everything, and having that branded experience from the proposal to the contract to the retainer, and it all feels like our website is very slick and something we love and get so many compliments on all the time, where they're like,
Yeah.
how'd you do that? That's really cool. Like that looks awesome. And it's still personalized and customized, but it's designed just how we want it to be. So that's one of
Exactly.
my
That
favorite
has to be
things.
my favorite Dubsado feature, are the
Hmm.
proposals. Just to
Yeah.
be able to combine your contract, your proposal, your contract, and your invoice all in one form, so that they don't have to have many different links, and it just directs them right through the flow.
Hmm.
So has to be my favorite because it combines
Right.
lots of things into one.
Oh, yeah. I say that on our inquiry calls all the time, where we're talking with our clients and they're like, okay, what happens next? And I'm like, all right, well, then you're going to get a proposal. It's going to automatically go to the contract and the
Yep.
retainer. You'll get everything all at once. So it's something I say all the time, and it's very slick and convenient for my clients, which I love that
Love
experience. So
it.
it's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about kind of the setup, because from our experience, this was actually our biggest hurdle to jumping in. And one of the things that I actually, because I remember when I first signed up for the tool, there's so much, like there's so much to do, and like so much you can dig into. So it's kind of like, oh, I don't have time to start, or that might be like the hurdle that people are kind of hanging on is like, I need to set aside like a week to get into it and like start doing it or whatever it may be. So I'd love to know from you, like, what are some tips for people who need to make the move or need to just start using a CRM or need to start using something to kind of make the shift and not make it feel overwhelming?
Yeah, the thing that I see the most happening for people who get overwhelmed when starting any kind of client management system or business management system is they are overwhelmed with the tools and the things that are in front of them immediately. And that becomes even harder when they don't exactly know the processes that are happening in their business. So my very first tip for all of these people is to just write down your ideal client, like who do you work with the most? If you have a bunch of different services, let's just focus on one for right now. Write down what happens from the moment they inquire with you to the moment that they are offboarded and out the door. There might be some things that will be in your client management system. There might be some things that will be in other systems because, there are other places that you handle your business outside, depending on what you do. And write it all out. Then go into Dubsado and see what you can start. Start by getting your form templates in because you need your form templates to send. You need your contracts in there, your questionnaires that you're sending out. Once you got that done, get your canned emails in there. Those are the emails that we're sending out all the time. And just implementing your canned emails into even Gmail or into Dubsado can save you a couple minutes per client, but that adds up over a long period of time. Once you feel like you got everything in there and that you could successfully intake a client and work with them, that's where I recommend diving into workflows. Sometimes people really want to just jump headfirst into workflows, but it's overwhelming when you kind of don't know how the system operates. So I always recommend going through client just once, see how it works, and then you can go in and start automating things. Start small is my tip because Dubsado will be here. It will be growing with you. So you don't need to like jump in and use every single tool at once. Just use what you want to do right now. And then as you're like, all right, I feel like I graduated a bit, then you can upgrade to maybe getting that proposal set up or maybe getting your workflow set up. So people always try to jump in like head first and go through every single thing. That might work for some, but for most, I always recommend baby steps.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. We actually had Taryn on the podcast a little while ago, who's now a part of your team, and I'll make sure I link her episode because we talked all about building your processes from beginning to end. And I think that's a really good point of if you have all that stuff built, if you have email templates already, if you have processes already, all it is copy and pasting those into the tool. And it makes that process so much simpler. Same thing with questionnaires and all of that. And once you do it once, you never have to do it again, which is beautiful.
It's beautiful. Then you just upkeep it. Change a
Yes.
few things here and there, and that's easy.
Yep. When I first started, I did rather than doing workflows because I was scared of them at first. I was like, like I know they're here to save my life, and they definitely are. But I was scared of them at first. So instead, what I did is I just put everything in there and then manually did it all within the tool. So I got to understand the tool and how it worked and then set up workflows. And we're also very transparent with our clients. So sometimes I'm just like, hey, I'm testing something new out. If it feels funky, just let us know. Which is nice. And I think that's okay too. People switch tools all the time, and you can just tell your clients, give them the gold star to be like, hey, you're my test client. Do you want to see how this works out? Which sometimes people love
buy
that.
into the process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's awesome. Does your team help at all? I didn't even take advantage of this if they do, but does your team help at all when people want to move from like, say they're on a different platform already and they want to move over here? Do you guys have like people on your team that can help make that shift?
We have two different types of services. One of them is free, and that is just getting your templates in. So your contract templates, questionnaire templates, if you have proposals, anything that might be in another system or you're using like Google Docs for or PDFs, you can email those forms over to us and we can input them into your Dubsado account for free. Then
that's free?
Yeah, it's free.
I didn't even know about that. That's amazing.
People love that one just because, I mean, it takes us maybe like a day or two to turn it around, but you just sit back and we can get it in there. And then you can just go in and, add your photos or just make it look like your brand. So we love that
That's amazing.
one. Another one is, if you want something more in-depth, is a data migration service. And we actually have a list of certified Dubsado specialists that can help those that need just, let's say you're in another system and need to get everything over, all your invoices, all past clients, every piece of old data into Dubsado. That can most definitely happen, but that is done by our vetted Dubsado users, and we call them certified specialists. So we have a directory on our website that you can search for people who do data migration services, and they actually do a lot more than that. If people needed more, they do workflow setups, form design. Our certified specialists are such a great resource for those coming into Dubsado.
That's awesome. I do feel like which is the great thing is the tool can grow with you too. And one of the things too for us is every year I feel like we implement something new that then helps simplify our process and make it even better. And it's funny because before, like, I think before even last year, I didn't even have the proposal in there. We just did like contract invoice, and adding the proposal was like a whole nother level of experience. That
Yeah.
was great. So it's awesome to start then incorporating new things as you get into the tool, because there's so much there that you sometimes just forget.
Exactly. Yeah, because you're just going a lot about your stuff. Everyone, you have a business to run. So you're not thinking about like the bells and whistles and things that you can do unless it's like, all right, I'm just finding a pain point. How do I solve this? And to that, our team is always here to help as a resource. So, our chat is open pretty much a lot of hours of the day, 7 days a week. So if there's any question that anyone has about Dubsado, or if something can work, our chat resource is something people should definitely take advantage of.
That's awesome. Is there any, I'm curious what your like favorite feature is of Dubsado? Like, is there anything that's kind of like not secretive, but something that maybe people don't take advantage as much, or just some like piece of it or feature of the product that you just absolutely love?
It might sound very small, but in the Dubsado projects page where you're looking at all your projects and you have your project statuses up there at the top, so you can categorize where your clients are in your journey, you can add emojis in those little status boxes. And for me, especially when you're picking statuses from a drop down or just trying to see where a client is in the experience, I don't like reading a whole bunch of text on the screen. So if it's an application that they're getting into, I have like a little glasses person, or if they're filling out a contract in that step, I have a little handwritten emoji. So I love using emojis throughout the system, and it's going to be even more prominent as we go into future Dubsado versions. We are currently working on our mobile app right now. It's out to about 500 beta testers, and emojis are a big part of the app. So we'll be bringing that more into the desktop version as well, to help you even fine tune, like classify your projects with, maybe you have like all your weddings are a wedding emoji, so that you can categorize things that way as well. So I love the use of emojis.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that too. We do a lot of classification, which would be super fun with our like bookkeeper too, because she'll look at like, oh, can you make sure that you're marking that as like SEO or as branding, so that we know where the money
Yes.
is going, so we can categorize it correctly, which would be so fun when I can be like, yeah, the little like nerd glasses emoji is
Yes,
SEO, and
exactly.
then some like, wig emoji could be Courtney's branding.
I
Which would
love
be super
that.
fun. Yeah, we need to update that, I think.
Love it.
That's awesome. I think another feature that we haven't talked too much about, which I know is still in beta for you guys, but we love it and use it all the time, is the scheduler. So the
Yeah.
scheduler for us has been great for doing strategy calls, because that experience has been so nice, where anyone can book a strategy call with us at any
Yeah.
time. They have a link to our calendar. They automatically get a questionnaire and they automatically pay. And I don't need to lift a finger at all. Like, all of that just happens. And then they're on my calendar and then we
Yep.
talk. So that part is great.
And
Is there,
it's something that we're improving upon as well. So I'm very excited about that. We are overhauling the look from the your view to the client's view. So that is a very exciting thing that will be released later this year.
Yay. Yeah, I'm excited. That's what we use for everything. We use that for all like for discovery calls to book with people, for strategy calls. So for podcast
Yep,
schedules.
right here. I used it.
I know you used it to book this call. So yeah, it is phenomenal. And then the workflows that go along with it are truly
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Are there any other, like in terms of integrations, you talked a little bit about it of like, oh, we have a lot of integrations and things that you can
Mhm.
do. What are some of like the most popular integrations that people use within Dubsado?
Yeah, I think right off the bat is our payment processing integrations. You can connect with Stripe, Square, and PayPal. So those are so that you can send a client an invoice and they can pay the invoice right there using their credit card or their bank information. Another really powerful integration that we have is Zapier. So if you're not familiar with Zapier, I always like to explain it as a tool that is a bridge to other systems. So if you wanted, as soon as your lead capture form comes in, if you want that form to maybe send you a text, Dubsado doesn't send text just yet, but using Zapier, you can have it send you a text. Or if you want to add it to a Google Sheet, you can connect to Dubsado and Google Sheets together to have something happen when something else happens. And Zapier helps facilitate those connections between two platforms. And then I think another wildly popular one is our email integration. Just connecting your email into Dubsado so that you can send emails within the system and it comes from your email address. Nothing says Dubsado. That was like a huge foundational thing for us. It's just we want your brand to be front and center of everything.
Yeah. Yep. That's awesome. I think also the calendar integration is great because I can just
Yes.
block things on my calendar and then the tool will automatically block it on that for the schedulers and all of
Yep.
that, which is great. And being able to just look at my calendar, whether it be in Google or in the actual Dubsado tool to peek at my calendar in there too, which is
Yes.
awesome.
Have those things in both places. So no matter where you're looking, you're up to date.
Yes, yeah, which is super important because double booking or
Oh gosh.
overbooking or just like not being able to block off my calendar if all of a sudden like a kid's doctor appointment pops up and I need to go to that and then
Yes.
don't have a client actually booking, like that kind of stuff happens all the time. So I think that's very helpful. It's just half the time on my end I'll block something and then I'll accidentally do it as free rather than busy and then
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
dang it. What did I do that
Those
for?
those all day events always by Google
Yes.
always default to free.
Always. I
It's
know.
like, no,
I'll
please, I'm
block,
busy.
right? I'll block it for Court and I to do like podcast recordings for a day. And I'll be like,
Yeah.
hold this for the podcast. And then Courtney's like, Abby, why are people still booking client discovery calls? And I'm like, oh, dang it. Sorry.
Come on, Google.
I know. So that's user error for sure. Okay. So you've teased it a little bit about what's next, but what is
Mhm.
next for Dubsado? What are you guys working on this year? Is there any secret projects you can share?
Yeah, one of them is our mobile app. So very excited for that. It has been such a long time coming, but we wanted to make sure to do it super methodically and really give our users what exactly they're asking for. So this has been a long time coming, but we're very excited that the first version of it is out to our beta list. Secondly, we have Dubsado Payments, which is coming in April. It is going to be our own processor. We're partnered with Stripe to help you, uh, it's like connecting to Stripe, but it's called Dubsado Payments. But with Dubsado Payments, you'll be able to do way more than just being integrated with Stripe and Dubsado, such as Afterpay, Google Pay. So allowing your clients to choose these as options, being able to pass on credit card fees to your clients if that's not something that you want your business to pay for, just providing you more options in payment processing. And we're very excited for the future of that and helping people process money better. And this will eventually lead to more in-depth reporting because it is called Dubsado Payments. We'll be able to create different features around it and really exciting things like that.
That's
And then
awesome.
third this year is we had a quite of a bit of a slow end of last year and beginning of this year in terms of feature releases because our team is working really, really hard behind the scenes of rewriting our entire code base. It sounds very boring.
It
And
sounds
I
intense though.
personally, it's intense. Yes, it's very intense. But the reason why we're doing this is a lot of our code is from 8 years ago, and we need to make sure that for where we're headed, we can stay agile and release features quick. And we noticed we were just getting bogged down with what we call here tech debt. So our technical debt was just weighing us down. We weren't able to release features as fast and updates as fast as we wanted to. So we will be finishing out that project in a couple of months here. And we have some amazing plans lined up after that so that we can just deliver some amazing updates to the platform right after that gets released. But when it does get released, even though nothing is functionally changing, there is going to be a slight user interface refresh. So things will look different. They'll be more fresh and more up to date. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That's awesome. I know my husband used to be a product manager, so I know a lot about that
Oh, okay.
world of, but I think
Yes.
there's a lot of people that don't, and understanding what's happening behind the scenes, even if it's not dramatically changed on the front, there's
Yeah.
such a disconnect when you're not involved in that part of the world, but that is a huge undertaking. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
can only imagine.
It's an all hands assignment. We are looking forward to it and going to have a big celebration after this is done because
As you should.
it's quite a project.
That's awesome. I'm super curious too for the mobile app. Would you say is
Mhm.
that going to be more so like internal facing, like I would be using it for our business, or is it also going to be like we want our clients to download the app too?
No, that's a great question. It's more right off the bat is going to be for your internal managing. What we
Mhm.
found is, our mobile web version works, but it's not built for your thumb, where it lies. You kind of have to go all over, and we're just trying to make a really great experience for you if you're on the go to manage things with clients. Right now, for your clients, it's very simple for them to just pay an invoice on their phone or fill out a questionnaire on the phone. So that's all fairly simple, but possibly a great idea for the future.
Yeah, yeah, right. I love that. I am definitely someone who needs a screen, and I'm usually like, I don't
Oh,
even
yeah.
try mobile experiences. I'm just like, oh, let's just
Yep.
jump on my computer. But when there are apps and things that make it so much more user friendly, that's when I'm like, oh, yeah, because if you are on your go or away
Yeah.
and someone wants you to update something or quickly send a contract, especially in service-based businesses, because if you don't send that contract, you don't get that client. So I
Yep.
think that kind of stuff is super important. So that's exciting.
Exactly.
Can't wait to see it.
Me too. Well, I've seen
Awesome.
it, but I can't wait
Yeah,
to
right?
release it.
You're like, I can't wait for you to see it. Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. Do you have, as we kind of wrap this all up, is there anything else you kind of want to share with everyone on Dubsado, or any just kind of jumping in and getting started?
Yeah. Well, if you're jumping in and getting started, if you think that right now is not your time to get started on a business management platform or managing your clients, that's where I say it is the perfect time to get set up, because once you grow your business and have a little bit more clients than what you have right now, it just becomes too overwhelming. And what we see time and time and time again is people coming into Dubsado of, I'm just so overwhelmed. I can't do this all. I have too many clients. I should have started a while ago. So if you're thinking that you might need it in a year or so, that's the exact time that you need to be starting, is right now, so that you can just get your foundation set up so that you are ready to start delivering an amazing client experience and something super consistent, which will help your business and your word of mouth and your clients to keep returning to you.
I couldn't agree more. I think signing up for something before you need it and before it's a
Yes,
necessity is so important. So if you feel like you don't need it, you probably do
exactly.
right
Yeah.
now.
Just be
And
prepared.
yeah, and use that free tool that I clearly didn't use to get everything implemented,
Exactly.
because I had all of my
Yes.
email templates and I could have just done that. But that's all right. I got in the tool and I got used to it and it was great.
Oh, gosh.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Becca. We will make sure to put all of the links to start digging into Dubsado and how to learn about everything in the show notes, so people can kind of dive in and get started and use your team, because you have
Yeah.
such a great customer service team that I don't doubt they will get all the answers they need. So
Oh, yes. They're always there.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
If you like this episode, please be sure to share it with a friend and subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes dropping every Monday. Plus, if you haven't already, please go ahead and leave us a review and don't hesitate to share any new episode ideas. We absolutely love hearing from you and creating this content for you. See you next week.